What's up, sports fans, and happy American Thanksgiving to everybody. Because, of course, for the NFL picks and predictions, NFL is always a big deal on American Thanksgiving. Thursday, of course, always has the big games on. There's even a Friday game this week and stuff for, if you don't want to trample another human being for the sake of getting $100 off of television, you can stay home and watch some more football. Yeah, football. Let's go. NFL picks and predictions for Week 13. American Thanksgiving, of course. It's big, even up here in Canada. We notice because we're sports fans, right? But yeah, either way, let's get underway with... What's up, sports fans, and happy American Thanksgiving to everyone. Of course, as sports fans, even up here in Canada, we acknowledge American Thanksgiving because of the NFL. Tomorrow's games are going to be a big deal. Lions and Cowboys always playing respective games, and with a late game, of course. So this Thursday is always quite unique, quite a little bit special, and there's even a Friday game. So if you do not want to trample another human being to get $100 off that Walmart television, you can stay home like a responsible adult and watch some football, right? So either way, before we get underway with the Week 13 picks, of course, let's go over the results for Week 12 right over here. And quick note, this is not exactly where we want to be at this point in the season. Generally speaking, you want to average anywhere from, roughly around 10 wins per week. And obviously at Week 13, 109 wins isn't terrible, but it's below the average of where we want to be. We want to be sitting roughly right about now at least 121, 125 wins-ish. And right now we're just not pulling our weight. We're just not doing it. We're about almost a week's worth of wins behind. That's not great. But anyways, can't win them all. But let's just go over the picks here. Obviously, we screwed up, and this was already brought up in the last video, of course, because I was behind on making content. But Buffalo lost to Houston in a bit of a very odd upset sort of way. And then we end up losing both I didn't consider the Pittsburgh Steelers pick to be an upset pick, but the Steelers lost to the Bears. And then my upset pick of the Bengals, which once again, I didn't really see that much of an upset, but neither one of those panned out. So we were 0 for 3 going into the rest of the week, and I just was like, okay, this is starting us off really good. Losing the Thursday night game, plus, not doing well at the two beginning games. But then the Lions beat the Giants, though big overtime deal there. Like, what is going on with the Lions letting the Giants walk all over them? Now, the Giants fumbled. Not literally, but they fumbled an obvious ability to win that game and come away clutch. The Lions turned it on at the last minute sort of idea, and they managed to get them to overtime for a W. But my God, that did not look good on the Lions side. The fact that the Giants, who are just swapping, aren't they on their fifth quarterback at this point, fourth or fifth quarterback? They're just trying to see what's going to stick for next year. They're playing around. They're using these official games to try to rebuild and decide what direction they want to go. The fact that this happened, it speaks well to the Giants, but it speaks more poorly about the Lions, right? So even though the Lions squeaked out a win, I was not impressed whatsoever. Packers destroying the Vikings, as I sort of assumed they would. That one, most people went with that. Of course, Seahawks winning over the Titans, no big deal. Now, just because the Lions-Giants thing, this was almost the exact same game, Colts-Chiefs, where the Chiefs ended up turning it on at the end, and this one sort of went the same deal as the Detroit Lions and Giants game, and Kansas City manages to squeak out a win against the Colts. I'm not upset at picking those Colts. I think, regardless of any calls and stuff like that, I think they were solid, and I think the Chiefs didn't look good for the majority of the game. They certainly didn't play well in the first half, as far as I'm concerned, and it's hard to say. It's really hard to say how what was working and what wasn't with the Chiefs, stuff like that. But I didn't think, even though they won the game, I didn't think they looked good on very many drives. Period. Even scoring drives, they were a little not exactly walking down the field sort of levels. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. And once again, I think it's just because the fan base, everybody talks and act like these are the ones from 3 years ago, the Super Bowl champions, the ones that went 15-2 or whatever. And I'm just not seeing that in this current Chiefs team. Though Andy Reid, of course, making those halftime adjustments, making sure that his team is like, nope, this is what we got to do. So he's, definitely an elite level coach to bring his team to pull them up by their bootstraps, as it were. So we end up losing that pick, but I knew that one was considered an underdog pick. I was impressed that the Colts brought them as far as they did. Then Ravens beat the Jets. No one's great surprise. Browns beat up on the Raiders, too. I guess some people's surprise. Apparently that was more of a 50-50 pick across the board. But once again, I think the Raiders are just about at the bottom of the league at this point. So I wasn't as surprised. Jaguars being the Cardinals. Then here was the big one. And we did not look good in that first half. My God. What was with these? This is now the third game I got to talk about where the winning team did not do well in the first half. We're getting sort of dog walk, getting destroyed on both sides of the ball. And then all of a sudden, the comeback story. The fact that the Cowboys and our defense managed some solid, the worst defense in the league, managed to actually say, okay, our offense isn't perfect. They're having a really rough go. We need to step it up to allow our offense some breathing room to get some momentum. So though, once again, Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and the offense were pulling the weight for basically this whole season, this was 100% a win for the defense and a big confidence boost in that locker room, I guarantee you, because they said, no, it's finally our time to step up. Our offense can't always be perfect. Right now, they're at a sink. They're screwing up. That first quarter was abysmal. So with the interceptions, the multiple fumbles, even some that went back and blah, 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 the incomplete pass, whatever. We looked all over the place. Our offense did not come out of that gate swinging. And the defense says, okay, we have to step it up. We can't let Philly do anything. We need to give our offense time and possession of the ball. And lo and behold, they did it, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And I did not have faith, because as I said, if our offense isn't perfect, we're likely to lose to the Eagles. And realistically, if our defense had let off the gas for even one drive, or even one big set of plays, in that second half, this would be a win. It would be a W on the pool sheet. But I'm happily here saying that I picked wrong. I didn't have faith in the Cowboys. And lo and behold, they won. So I'm good with it. I'm good with it because it does prove that the defense is finally getting their shit together. Too little, a little too late. But it means for next week and the following weeks, maybe it's time to start a little more faith again. Maybe that'll give the offense a little more breathing room, realizing that they don't have to rely on the pressure on the offense. While it must be so intense, the pressure on the offense is just diluted that little bit. Our defense can actually go on the field and do their job. We don't need to be perfect, and that less amount of tension in the shoulders on our players should speak a lot, should do a lot for the Cowboys for the remainder of the season. And then we clean up with Falcons over Saints, Rams over Buccaneers, not a bad game that one, and San Francisco over the Panthers. Pretty obvious picks here, other than the Bucs-Rams pick was a hard choice. And, I didn't think the Cowboys-Eagles was a hard choice, but that was some of these games were right down to the wire and very strange games. So it is what it is, right? Either way, let's move on. That was the results for Week 12 with 5 losses, but 9 wins. Not too terrible, not too crazy, you know what I mean? Had there been a couple more games, might have done a little better, but could have always done worse. So it is what it is there. Let's move on to the picks for American Thanksgiving. All right, so as always, we have 3 games on American Thanksgiving Thursday. We have the Lions always play an early game, the Cowboys always play the prime game, and then we have the late night game of whomever. But let's go through this one, because it's a bit of a doozy here. We got the Packers and the Lions. If the Lions hadn't done what they've done the past couple of weeks, this would be an obvious pick with the Lions for me. But I got more faith in the Packers than I do the Lions right now. The consistency of the Lions is all over the map, and I'm just sort of beside myself in wondering what exactly is happening happening to that team? Like, what is going on? Is it like, because they're on the field, they're out of sync. They're not communicating. There's a wrench there somewhere, and I'm just not sure what it is. Is it some drama behind the scenes off the field? I don't know. Is there a locker room issue? I don't know. But the Lions, who look so strong, coming off a big season from last year, are just not hitting it the same way. And I just don't know what it is. So I've got more, seeing more consistency from the Green Bay Packers and the Lions. And I really do think that this will still be a good game and probably down to the wire. But it's got to go with the Packers on this one. I really do. And then because of the big win against the Eagles, that defensive stopping of a whole half of the game, not allowing the Philadelphia Eagles, and especially the run game with Barkley, managing to stop them for an entire half, speaks volumes about the changes that have been made to the defensive line. And I'm doing it. I'm picking Cowboys over the Chiefs. How about them boys? Let's go. Because the Chiefs have a solid defense, just like the Eagles. But as we proved last time against the Eagles just now, we're still putting up over 25 points. We're still able to put up over 20, not exactly 25, but we average over 30, and against even the Eagles defense, and with that terrible first quarter, an abysmal first quarter, actually an abysmal first half, we still managed to score those 24 points after the fact. You know what I mean? So my big thing here is that the Cowboys offense, if they even just have a couple of weak drives, but they have a couple of scoring drives in the first half, there's no reason that the Cowboys cannot score at least a minimum of their average of 30 points on the Chiefs, and I really don't see the Chiefs managing to do the same to this defense that just came off knowing that they stopped the Eagles. I think that momentum is not going to go to their heads. I think it's going to say, look at us. We're ranked the worst, but it doesn't mean we can't do our job. I think it's going to be a big boost for this one, and I can really see it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying the Chiefs aren't going to be having the winning score for a good portion of the game. I'm saying that I got faith in my Cowboys. The same faith that I just couldn't do before for last week. It's been restored at this point. It really has been restored. Though it wasn't looking great at that first half, but I will tell you, I don't have faith in the Chiefs, but I do have faith in the boys. So let's go. Let's go Cowboys for tomorrow's big game. And then Ravens over Bengals for obvious reasons there. As far as I'm aware, this next game, the Eagles-Bears, is on Friday, if I have that correctly. This is the Friday game once again. You either go out shopping for Black Friday and try to, stomp people to death, or, because people are crazy, or you stay at home responsible, drink some beer, eat some turkey, and watch some football. So, it is what it is. So Eagles over Bears, still for obvious reasons there. Then we get on to the rest of the games. We got 49ers over the Browns, Jaguars over the Titans, and Colts over the Texans. Now, just because the Colts lost to the Chiefs doesn't, do enough for me to tell me that the Colts are still not a great team. They took the Chiefs right down to the end. And though the Texans are looks like they're a bit improving as the season has gone on as far as I'm concerned, like just in their play style and what they've been doing in their calls. I still think the Colts are the better, well-rounded team at this point, and I think they will beat the Texans, probably by a possession, if not two. So that's what I'm going with there. Dolphins over Saints. I have a weird feeling about this one for some reason. I think that the Dolphins in the first half are going to be losing, but then they're going to come back and still win the game. But I got a weird feeling about that one. Same with the Falcons and the Jets game. This feels like a game the Jets are going to win, but I sort of am already going with a couple of upsets with the Thanksgiving with Packers and Cowboys. So I'm trying to sort of be a little more less Hail Mary attempt on this side of the ball, left side of the field sort of idea. I'm trying to pick my poison a little bit better going on in the middle part of the week sort of idea. And then same with like Buccaneers and Rams over Cardinals and Panthers, to no one's great surprise there, right? Same with Seahawks over Vikings. Anybody actually picking against this? Is anybody picking Cardinals, Panthers, or Vikings? Like, realistically, you know? And then we get into a couple of odd matchups because Buffalo has been inconsistent just like the Lions. Very, very odd choice. But Pittsburgh hasn't been looking so stellar themselves either. I got more faith in the Bills than the Steelers, realistically, the Josh Allen, stuff like that. So I think I'm going to stick with the Bills pick. But that one is sort of subject to change. Same with the Jets-Falcons pick. I might go with the Hail Mary and pick the Jets. I'm very hesitant to ever pick the Jets, but you never know. As I said, weird feeling about those two games, especially the Saints, Dolphins, and the Falcons Jets game. They just look weird on paper to me for some reason. And then Raiders, I'm not picking the Raiders. I'm never picking the Raiders this year. So that one's just, that's basically a done game. Go Chargers. And then Broncos over Commanders and Giants over Patriots. Giants over Patriots to end off the week as a bit of an upset pick once again. Just because I think things are going to be stirred up. Thanksgiving week isn't as weird as week one, but I find that the American Thanksgiving week of football always, nothing ever really goes as scripted, quote unquote, right? I find that it seems to always be some drama or some like, really, Tom Brady lost to the Jets, or something like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always weird, it's usually 3 to 4 upsets that are sort of like, okay, that wasn't exactly a 50-50. That's a weird upset. Or, at the very least, a major one. Like, the team going in there with 8 wins and 2 losses or whatever, or, well, at this point it'd be more. But you know what I mean. The team that's lost only like 2 times this year all of a sudden gets dog-walked. They can't score even a field goal, And it's like, is the gravy and the turkey and everything just getting into everybody's head this week or whatever like that? So I always find that Thanksgiving week always has some weird games. So that's maybe why I'm looking at those middle games there and just going, maybe subject to change, right? But yeah, those are the picks for week 13, the American Thanksgiving weekend. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are American and you celebrate Thanksgiving however you celebrate it, I hope you have a great, I believe you guys get a long weekend for it and stuff, so have a good long weekend. Enjoy the Thursday football. Enjoy the food, the family, the drink, whatever you guys do. And if you're crazy enough to try to hit the stores in some of the major cities like New York or LA or what have you, good luck. Don't die, I guess. And yeah, that being said, hope everyone has a good one, and we'll see you guys back here next week. Have a good one. See ya.